to be with you, our dear learners. I am Teacher Joyan Sibinata of Gaho Elementary School. Hop in as we explore to the world of English. For today's video lesson, you will learn about composing clear and coherent sentences using grammatical structures found in your learning packet number 2, quarter 4. Your pen, paper, and learning activity sheet? Great! Let's get started! In the first learning activity sheet, you have learned how to compose clear and coherent sentences using the present perfect tense.
The present perfect is a verb tense which is used to show that an action has taken place once or many times before now. The present perfect is most frequently used to talk about experiences or changes that have taken place, but there are other less common uses as well. The present perfect of any verb is composed of two elements: the appropriate form of the auxiliary verb to have plus the past participle of the main verb. The past participle of a regular verb is base plus ed or d. Example: play, played; look, looked; arrive, arrived. Irregular past participles can be formed by changing a vowel, adding a new ending, or doing both. However, the vowel or ending is often, but not always, different from the past tense form. Example: drive, driven; begin, begun; sleep, slept; run, run; freeze, frozen; eat, eaten. Our objectives for today are to identify and use the past perfect tense of the verbs correctly and compose clear and coherent sentences using the past perfect tense of verbs. Let us learn about past perfect tense by looking at the illustration. The illustration shows that when he arrived to the train station, the train had left. Now, what is a past perfect tense? Past perfect tense indicates that an action was completed before some other past action. An action in the past perfect tense began and ended before another past event. To give an example, first, the train had left. Then, he arrived. So, how do we make the past perfect tense? The structure of the past perfect tense is the auxiliary verb have is conjugated in the past simple had. Let us look at these example sentences with the past perfect tense. The main verb is invariable in past participle form ed or irregular en, n, or ne ending. For negative sentences, we insert not between the auxiliary verb and the main verb. For question sentences, we exchange the subject and the auxiliary verb. That is how past perfect tense works. Here is my first challenge for you. Are you ready? Let's get started. Now let us answer your activity sheet practice task 1. Yes or no. You are going to read and analyze the pair of sentences in each number. Write yes if the sentence is in the past perfect tense. Write no if it is not. Okay kids, let's start. Let's read the given example. Austin had spoken well on stage. The verb is had spoken. Is it in the past perfect tense? Yes. So the correct answer is yes. The second sentence is Austin spoke well on stage. The verb is spoke. Is it in the past perfect tense? No. So the answer is no. For number 1, the pair of sentences is I bought some vegetables from the supermarket and I had bought some vegetables from the supermarket. Time's up. Let us check now. Is the first sentence in the past perfect tense of the verb? The answer is no. The second sentence is I had bought some vegetables from the supermarket. The answer is yes. For number 2, the sentences are the old woman had hung her coat on the peg. The old woman has hung her coat on the peg. Let's check your answers in number 2. In the first sentence, the answer is yes. In the second sentence, the answer is no. Let's proceed to number 3. These are the sentences. I had passed the exam successfully as I had studied well this quarter. I passed the exam successfully as I studied well this quarter. What is your answer? Correct! In the first sentence, the answer is yes. While in the second sentence, the answer is no. Next, number 4. The delegates will go home after the meeting. The delegates had gone home after the meeting. The answer in the first sentence is no, while in the second sentence is yes. And last, the sentences are Percival finishes his work as soon as he gets home. Percival had finished his work as soon as he had gotten home. In the first sentence, the answer is no, while in the second sentence, the answer is yes. Wow! Great job! Now let's proceed to the second challenge for you. Practice task 2. Correct me if I'm wrong. Write C on the space provided in each number if the underlined verb is correct. If it is incorrect, write the correct past perfect verb form. Are you ready? Let's start! Example is, the program had begun when we arrived at the auditorium. The underlined verb is had begun. Is it correct? You are right. The underlined verb had begun is not in the past perfect tense. It should be had begun. For number 1, the sentence is, the child had been lost for 5 hours before the neighbors found her. So the answer is C, because the verb is in the past perfect tense. Next is, the airplane left already when he arrived at the airport. The underlined verb is left already. The verb left already is not in the past perfect tense. It should be had left already. Number 3, they had wrote each other before they met. The underlined verb is had wrote. Is it correct, children? No, it should be had written. Number 4, the farmers had planted their crops before the dry season came. The underlined verb is had plant. Is it correct? No, the correct verb is had planted. Number 5, the food had been cooked when the visitors arrived. The answer for number 5 is C. Did you get them all correct? Bravo! You are great, children! Now let's come to the third challenge for you. In practice task number 3, open the brackets, you are tasked to complete each sentence by changing the verb in the parentheses to form a correct past perfect tense. Example: when the waiter finally arrived with the food, the guests blank in closing parentheses already leave the restaurant. The answer is had already left. Are you now ready, kids? Let's start! For number 1 and 2, the sentence is, she was almost finished cleaning the floor, but then she, blank, in closing parenthesis, suddenly lose her balance, and blank, in closing parenthesis, fall badly. For number 1, the answer is had suddenly lost. And for number 2, the answer is had fallen. Next sentence is, when I visited my friend the other day, she blank, in closing parenthesis B, busy cleaning up because she blank, in closing parenthesis, drop a glass. The answer for number 3 is had been. And for number 4, had dropped. For our last sentence, Jocelyn blank, in closing parenthesis, play tennis for ages when she won her first tournament. The correct answer for number 5 is had played. Did you get a perfect score? Very good, children! For your final activity, you are going to write a short personal narrative on how you spend your time during lockdown. I know you have a lot of experiences when Sorsogon City was under the General Community Quarantine or GCQ and Moderate General Community Quarantine or MGCQ. Write about your most memorable experience using the graphic organizer. Observe the correct use of past perfect tense in composing your sentences. Your output will be rated using the given rubric. Are you done, children?
The last activity was challenging, but I know you did your best in writing a short personal narrative. Just remember, your personal narrative should observe the correct use of past perfect tense.
Today, we learned that past perfect tense indicates that an action was completed before some other past action. The structure of the past perfect tense is the auxiliary verb have is conjugated in the past simple had. The main verb is invariable in past participle form, ed or irregular en, n, or ne. For negative sentences, we insert not between the auxiliary verb and the main verb. For question sentences, we exchange the subject and the auxiliary verb.
Congratulations, grade 6 learners! You are all brilliant! This has been another episode of English Tastic Learning. Once again, I am Teacher Joyanne saying, if you want to change the world, pick up your pen and write. See you in our next episode. Bye!